Sydney's newest COVID cluster grows. This afternoon, locals mask up as 8 new cases emerge. Contact tracers zero in on a bottle shop in the city's west. Testing chaos, Victoria and Queensland's screening systems buckle under pressure. A deadly blaze, a Sydney woman killed in a house fire the moment flames took hold. And farmers make play while the rain falls. The outback downpour that's flooded towns.
This is 7 News with Angie Asimus.
Good afternoon. Contact tracers have tracked the source of Sydney's latest COVID cluster, confirming it's not linked to the Northern Beaches outbreak. There were 8 new cases today, with efforts to stop the virus spread now concentrating on a bottle shop in the city's west. Robert Avadia has the details. Rob, tens of thousands of customers could have been exposed.
Well, Angie, today we had quite a development on the Baralla cluster, which has been festering for a few days now and has been the subject of growing warnings from New South Wales Health over that same period of time. Locals were out and about this morning, most of them wearing masks as they now have to at public venues indoors. At her daily public briefing, Dr Kerry Chant asked tens of thousands of people linked to the Baralla cluster to isolate themselves. Now, it centres around the local BWS store, and revelations thousands of people came into close contact with 2 employees, both infected with COVID, as they worked for 9 consecutive trading days over Christmas. So now authorities are not only racing to find all those people, but also asking for their close contacts to isolate too until testing results are known.
This is critical information because we know that there have been transmission events at this venue.
The very first day we are compelled to wear masks has already spawned a protest at Westfield Bondi Junction for people suggesting their personal freedoms are being eroded. On the whole, though, the uptake has been overwhelming at shopping centres, at supermarkets, salons, on public transport, and from tomorrow any breaches could incur a $200 fine, but police are promising to use discretion.
Some members of the community will be asked to put a mask on when they're either on transport or in a store. Can I ask that you do that and don't take offence?
Despite the looming threat in the western suburbs, it was a joyous day in the southern zone of the Northern Beaches in areas like Dee Why and Manly, where residents are finally out of lockdown and cafes and restaurants can finally welcome customers back after what has been a lean year.
It feels good to be back. It feels good to serve people.
There were 8 new cases of community transmission in 24 hours among 18,000 tests in the same period. 5 of the new cases are linked to Baralla. That cluster has grown to 13 now, and health authorities do anticipate it will grow again by tomorrow.
Thank you, Rob. Victoria has 3 new locally acquired COVID cases, but the state's testing system is struggling to cope. Many sites reached capacity within minutes of opening this morning, with some people turned away. Laurel Irving reports.
Angie, Melbourne recorded just 3 new cases today, and all are linked to the cluster centred around the Thai restaurant in the Melbourne suburb of Black Rock. The number of that cluster has now grown to 21. 13 of those cases were all at that restaurant on the night of December the 21st. The other cases are all close contacts of those people. But testing has become a real issue. 60,000 Victorians have returned from holidays in New South Wales over the past few days, and all of them have been asked to get tested. The problem is there are so many of them that testing sites have been overwhelmed. At one site this morning, there were so many people queued up that the queue was closed off even before the site opened. It sparked frustration, but authorities say they are expanding the capacity. It's grown today, will grow again tomorrow. The problem has been that so many healthcare workers have been on leave, and it's been hard to get them back this time of year.
Lined up this morning from 10 past 8 and now, 3 hours later, still not quite there.
And we're returned New South Wales travellers, but we couldn't get in yesterday.
But we're confident we can get people through the testing system over today and tomorrow and the days ahead of next week. But we are going to ask people to be patient.
Health officials say the next 48 hours are critical in terms of getting on top of this outbreak, but our new restrictions, masks mandatory once more inside and household gatherings cut to 15, those restrictions are likely to remain in place in Victoria for at least another few weeks. Angie.
Thanks, Laurel. Underprepared Queensland health authorities have been caught out by a huge testing rush in Brisbane. Updated advice saw large numbers of returned Victorian travellers turn out for screening. But as Georgie Chumley reports, they had to wait hours to be swabbed.
Well, there's growing frustration and a sense of deja vu here in Brisbane. Long lines stretching around the block at the Royal Brisbane and Women's Hospital, where last night clinics closed at 9 p.m. despite an immediate call from the Chief Health Officer to get tested.
You've got PA, you've got QE2, you've got Redlands, you've got Redcliffe. We're just the ones that are open the latest.
The testing memo for returned travellers from Melbourne came late yesterday afternoon, catching testing centres and staff off guard again.
There was a massive line, but essentially they had to turn people away because they shut at 9.
Gold Coast residents today told the wait could be as long as 6 hours.
It's ridiculous, but it has to be done, I suppose.
There's not much you can do, just suck it up.
The last thing that we want to see is somebody walking away from getting tested who should get tested.
We had 76 fever clinics open across Queensland yesterday.
It mimics scenes we experienced 2 weeks ago before Christmas with the Chief Health Officer's call for returned Sydney travellers to get tested.
We went to Melbourne for Christmas to celebrate with our family, and then we found out we had to get COVID tested.
Most people committed to doing the right thing, but not looking forward to spending their last few days of holidays in isolation.
Thank you, Georgie. Sydney was on the verge of losing the third cricket test, but the Harbour City could now have a shot of hosting the fourth. Some members of the Indian cricket team are unhappy with Queensland's strict quarantine measures. They say they won't travel to Brisbane if they're confined to their hotel rooms. The Australian team has been told players will be restricted to their hotel rooms when not training or playing. Major breaches of South Australia's hotel quarantine system have been revealed. There have been 99 instances of security guards caught doing the wrong thing, including 23 who were asleep on the job. South Australia Health says major improvements have been made since the outbreak that forced the state into lockdown. The Australian government has committed millions of dollars to new COVID treatment trials to keep up with the fight against the virus. Political reporter Taylor Aiken has more. Taylor, take us through these new studies.
Angie, the federal government have committed $10 million to fund 6 breakthrough projects for the protection and treatment against COVID-19. Most notably, it has backed 2 next-generation vaccine studies being developed by the University of Melbourne in collaboration with the Doherty Institute.
We are preparing for all eventualities.
The vaccines build on existing science and do not need to be stored at extremely low temperatures and can be modified to adapt to mutations.
What we don't know is whether or not there'll be further mutations which may require new types of vaccines.
But with the government's existing vaccination rollout plan just 2 months away, questions are being raised about if businesses can compel their staff to get vaccinated against COVID-19 under workplace laws.
It is completely untested, and what employers will be looking for is guidance from government.
With Labor also calling for clarity.
It's really a cop-out to say we'll get back to you shortly. They've known this has been coming for a long, long time.
The government also confirming today that despite the TGA still yet to grant approval to a vaccine, the rollout strategy is on track and even ahead of schedule. Angie?
Thank you, Taylor. A house fire has claimed the life of an elderly woman in Sydney. Neighbours have recounted the terrifying emergency as the victim's daughter escaped the blaze and screamed for help. Laura Banks reports.
Good afternoon. Well, it is a heartbreaking tragedy out here in Macquarie Fields. A mother of 2 unable to escape a fire that claimed her house and her life. Her distraught family today left wondering why. It was just before 1 this morning when the fire took hold. Neighbours hearing screams for help, rushing to try and reach 71-year-old Rose Tremonti. But the viciousness of the fire kept them back.
That was too much. We get in and the smoke, even we cannot see anything. The smoke was too much smoke.
Firefighters were on scene within 6 minutes of the first 000 call, but by then it was too late.
Within 2-3 minutes, too much. It's a big, long, and I've never seen before, in my life.
Rose's daughter-in-law, Georgie, was able to get herself to safety, but Rose couldn't find a way out. The distraught family returning today to the rubble to try and piece together the tragedy. Detectives, along with fire investigators, will now prepare a report for the coroner.
Thank you, Laura. A former basketballer is behind bars in Perth, charged with murder. Trudia Paul is accused of killing Stephanie Robinson, then setting her body alight. The mother's body was found by firefighters inside her burnt home on Friday night. It's alleged she'd been killed earlier that day. Paul was arrested several hours later. 2 women have died in a canyoning tragedy in the New South Wales Blue Mountains. In a remarkable act of heroism, a police officer gave her own life trying to save a younger woman who was sucked into a whirlpool. Cameron Price reports.
Angie, good afternoon. The search for the 2 women missing here at Wollongambie Canyon resumed early this morning. Police search and rescue teams trekking down to the narrow river where they were last seen yesterday afternoon to look for one of their own that, in a remarkable act of bravery yesterday, jumped into the swirling water in an attempt to save another woman that had gotten into trouble while taking on the popular canyon trek. Senior Constable Kelly Foster, though, herself was dragged under, her partner hiking out to raise the alarm. But in fading light and dismal conditions, crews called off the search late yesterday. It resumed this morning. Her body and that of the woman she tried to save were found and recovered from the scene by police divers.
There has been a lot of rain over the last few days, so there's probably an increase in water levels within the canyon.
Locals say water levels in the usually safe Wollongambie Canyon had been rising after persistent rain in the catchment over the past few weeks. The body of a second victim, a 24-year-old Chinese student, has also been recovered. Her family are in the process of being notified. Angie.
Thanks, Cam. Severe storms have flooded towns in regional New South Wales, but one farmer in Broken Hill seized the opportunity to try out a jet ski. The town of Parkes was also inundated, water swamping roads and car parks. 80 millimetres of rain fell in 20 minutes as 150 km/h winds swept through. A big clean-up is underway now with roads and property damaged. Still to come in 7 News, a stolen car pursuit turns into a foot chase the moment police run down a suspect. Party crashes and illegal rave busted, the staggering number of fines handed out. And an exotic pet bird stuck up a tree, how its owner tracked it down. That's next.
Never fear, Super Silk is here. Jordan Silk! Soaring for Sydney, clearing buildings with a single sound. He puts it onto the roof! But is Alex Carey and Adelaide his kryptonite? He goes again, brilliant batting.
The Out of This World Super Big Bash, tonight on 7.
Real love is being willing to try new things, letting her talk you into it, feeling happy to be wrong. eHarmony, here for real love.
It's the final days of Spotlight's biggest sale ever. 60% off linear blockout curtains plus bonus cushion cover included. 25% off all curtain rod track and pole sets. So decorate it, celebrate it and create it for less. Sale ends Tuesday. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
The Saucy McRib and legendary El Maco are back at Macca's. Delicious pork dripping in smoky barbecue rib sauce and juicy beef with chunky Mexican salsa. Wherever summer takes you, we'll be here.
Good afternoon, a great time to go Dodo, because it always is. See, we're an energy company that chips in for your internet, with unlimited NBN plans now from just $55 a month when you combine with energy. Time to go Dodo.com.
At Apia, we're all about possibilities and making sure you're ready for them. Because age is just a number. Slowing down, you're just getting started. So wherever you drive, wherever you live, get Apia car and home insurance together and we'll take 10% off both policies. Apia, get set, go. Call 13 50 50.
A suspect in a stolen car pursuit has tried to run from police on the Gold Coast. Officers gave chase on foot, the whole dramatic incident playing out on camera. Courtney Dunn reports.
A 26-year-old man is in police custody after allegedly slamming into a police car in a Surfers Paradise car park just after midnight. A stolen Honda Accord was driving erratically nearby. It turned into the underground car park at the Mantra Wings Hotel. Police used their own vehicles to try and block the driver in. Road stingers were deployed to slow down the stolen car, but on 4 flat tyres, the alleged driver ploughed into a marked van at the top of the exit ramp.
We thought he'd run into the restaurant, so we run in the restaurant, closed all the doors, but then we realised the police chased him down here and caught him and then put him in the back of the van.
Yeah, we've got one running through the car park. Keep an eye out where you are.
The man tried to flee up a staircase, chased down by 4 officers. 2 women who were also in the car at the time are assisting police with their inquiries. The 26-year-old alleged driver will face court tomorrow.
Thanks, Courtney. Americans seeking the COVID vaccine are facing long delays as the healthcare system struggles to meet demand. The first patients are beginning to receive their second jab, but many more are still waiting for their first. David Woywood reports.
Good afternoon. Yes, America's vaccine rollout has hit yet more roadblocks as desperately long lines hinder thousands from getting their first injection. These scenes across the country in states offering the jab to the general public confirming what was already suspected. A desperately stretched system unable to keep pace with demand and falling well behind its own target to have 20 million Americans vaccinated by the end of the year.
He's 76 years old and got issues, so we need to be in this line.
There was like people in front of me in their late 80s and they could hardly walk, and they were sitting out there that whole time too.
This as American healthcare worker Dr. Keisha Raphael was the first in the country to receive the second dose of the Pfizer vaccine. Dr. Raphael from Florida, a state that days ago detected its first case of the deadly mutant COVID-19 variant.
The main thing we need to do is come together as a nation to get rid of this virus. And the way that we do that is to do it through this vaccination.
America is now projected to lose 155,000 lives to COVID-19 this month alone. While here in California, 1 person is dying every 10 minutes from the virus. Hospital ship the USNS Mercy could also return. Calls for it to help build additional capacity into a system drowning in COVID cases.
Thank you, David. A small plane has crashed into a house and burst into flames in Detroit. Firefighters stopped the blaze before it engulfed the home, but it left major damage. All 3 people on board the aircraft were killed. A family of 5 weren't home at the time, but their pet cat sadly perished. It's not known what caused the crash, but the house is near an airport. Rescuers are searching for a snowplough operator after a deadly avalanche in northern Spain. Crews uncovered a half-buried plough, but there was no sign of its driver. Another operator was killed. Rescuers shovelled through snow to save 5 people, including a 2-year-old girl who were trapped in their cars. French police have busted an illegal rave party as more than 2,500 people defied COVID restrictions. The gathering was held in a disused warehouse in the French countryside in spite of the country's 6 p.m. curfew. Officers broke up the party with more than 1,200 people fined. Firefighters have rescued an exotic pet bird which went missing for 6 hours in Sydney's southwest. The African grey parrot was found in a tree. Its owner called to the bird late last night and then called emergency services when it responded.
There you go. Thank you, Fire Brigade. You've done a well, good job. Thank you so much.
It was a relatively tame bird. Luckily, the firefighter had some gloves on. I think he experienced a few little nips here and there.
The 4-month-old bird cost $5,000. Well, time for sport now with Matt Shervington. Matt, the nightmare continues for Joe Burns.
Oh, it sure does. The Test discard was unable to snap out of his form slump in the Big Bash last night. Details next. Plus, the very Aussie crowd catch that combined 2 of our favourite pastimes, cricket and beer, and their spectacular goals keep on coming in the A-League.
Harvey Norman Summer Sizzlers. Enjoy summer at home with the stylish Emma bed. Available in 2 sizes for one hot price, just $328 each. Plus, get 60 months interest free with a bonus gift card. Now at Harvey Norman.
When we found out how much debt we actually had, it was about $91,000.
My budget has been the best decision we've made.
We've paid off 5 credit cards. It's literally changed our life.
mybudget.com.au.
New mini hotcakes with Nutella have arrived at Macca's. Our famous hotcakes made mini with a delicious layer of creamy Nutella. Wherever summer takes you, we'll be here.
The Out the Door sale is on now at Doors Plus. Save up to 50% off across the range. Plus, we can fit, paint, stain and deliver. Visit a showroom for a free measure and quote. Up to 50% off, but for 2 weeks only. Doors Plus.
No fuss.
What's this?
Authentic street food. Dig in. Uh-oh, party's over, folks.
With added germ kill, Mortein Power Guard's all-in-one spray eliminates insects and 99.9% of the germs they carry.
Roger, roll over. Do it for a schmackos. Rogie boy.
Welcome back. As you saw earlier, COVID is again creating chaos for the Australia-India series, with the final test in Brisbane in serious jeopardy. 5 Indian players have been isolated for a biosecurity breach at a restaurant in Melbourne. The tourists adamant they will not travel to Queensland if subjected to strict COVID quarantines. But Australia boasts a great record at the Gabba.
India got a great bowling lineup and a great team, so we certainly won't take it for granted when we get there and play them. But we would love to play at the Gabba.
The Sydney Test will be played from next Thursday amid tightening COVID restrictions. Despite Queensland's border being shut to Sydney, the final test is due to be played in Brisbane from January 15th. Test discard Joe Burns has blown a chance for runs, while the Sydney Sixers blew a chance to go top of the table in the Big Bash. In a man-of-the-match performance, Brisbane Heat bowler Mark Steckity snared 4 wickets, thanks in part to great keeping by Jimmy Pearson to restrict the Sixers to 165. The Heat scored a much-needed 4-wicket win, but Burns out for just 1.
Opens up over the offside. Oh, say don't so, Joe. Holes out to a man down on the rope. Joe Burns' innings comes to a close for just 1.
In Hobart's win over the Melbourne Stars, 1-6 ricocheted into a fan's beer. Not spilling a drop, he finished the brew before returning the ball. Tonight, it's the Sixers up against the Adelaide Strikers on the Gold Coast. Our coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern on the screens of 7. The spectacular start to the A-League continues. Englishman Callum McManaman marked his debut for Melbourne victory with a screamer against Brisbane Roar.
He's going to have a shot, he's going to score a goal, and that is some goal and some way to make your A-League debut for Melbourne victory.
Dylan Wenzel's Halls replied with a brilliant solo effort of his own to clinch a 3-1 win for Brisbane at Amy Park. Earlier, reigning champion Sydney FC scored 2 long-range rockets in a 2-1 win over Wellington Phoenix in Wollongong. Tottenham have breathed life into their Premier League title challenge. This morning's 3-0 victory over Leeds ended a 4-match winless run and lifts Spurs to 3rd on the table.
Glides forward 55 yards and passes it into the corner.
My goodness me, this might be one of the goals of the season.
Arsenal's resurgence continued with a 4-0 thrashing of West Brom. The first major motorsport event in 2021 is underway. The 43rd edition of the Dakar Rally is being held under strict biosecurity protocols in Saudi Arabia. Defending motorbike champion Ricky Brabick took out the 11-kilometre prologue with Australia's 2-time champion Toby Price 22 seconds back in 9th. The 4,800-kilometre endurance test begins in earnest tonight. And Angie, I was just doing a bit of research on Ricky Brabick. He was the first American to win in 42 years, the history of the Dakar Rally. So he's going to be tough to beat. Toby Price, though, hopefully he can get his third.
Yeah, fingers crossed. It's impressive to watch, isn't it? Beautiful scenery.
Very much so.
Thank you, Matt. Well, still to come in 7 News, we'll have all your Monday weather details right around the country.
Hey, babe, you seen Temple and Webster's new... Wait, where's the sofa?
I'll just go and get it. With sizzling savings in our summer sale, you won't need an excuse to shop with Temple & Webster. Shop everything for your home and save.
Mitsubishi Heavy Industries has been recognised by Choice as Australia's best air conditioner brand, and CanStar Blue is having Australia's most satisfied customers. Buy before January 31 and get up to $300 cash back.
Let's get to work. James Jacks, will you look at that?
I told you to pay attention to the road.
Clearly this wasn't my fault. Maybe not, but you've taken a wrong turn on this one. Your insurance policy is monstrous.
You know, if you had budget direct car insurance, you'd get a hire car while yours gets repaired. And you could save hundreds.
Are we there yet?
Not at fault. Get a hire car while yours gets repaired. Just give us the other driver's details. Budget direct. Insurance solved.
Try Hungry Jack's Flame Grilled Big Jack? Then meet the new Chicken Big Jack with 2 crispy chicken patties and special sauce. Big Jack beef or Big Jack chicken. The burgers are better at Hungry Jack's.
Funny, when it comes to killing pests without chemicals, Aussies tend to resort to rather unnatural methods.
Stop!
With a plant-based active, new Aerogard Home is suitable for everyone, except bugs. The more natural way to go.
No need to shop around when you shop with Appliances Online. Enjoy our price match guarantee plus free next day delivery. Discover the world's biggest brands at great prices, including Bosch, Fisher & Paykel, Westinghouse, Samsung and Asato. Experience Appliances Online's legendary service, including free next day delivery, price match guarantee, free removal and recycling of old products and 24/7 Australian customer support. For great prices every day, visit appliancesonline.com.au now.
Sydney's Taronga Zoo is celebrating its first seal pup in 20 years. The yet-to-be-named female arrived just before Christmas. Little one is healthy, weighing 3.5 kilograms and is bonding well with mum. The pup joins a family of 15 other seals and sea lions. Time to check the forecast around the nation now. A tropical low is generating heavy rain, storms and strengthening winds about the Gulf of Carpentaria. Troughs are triggering wet weather across most other states. To the capitals for tomorrow: Brisbane fine and warm, 30 degrees. Sydney will see more showers and storms, 27. Canberra unsettled, 25. Cool top of just 18 for Melbourne. Shower or 2 for Hobart. Adelaide partly cloudy, 24 degrees. Sunny and warm for Perth, 35 degrees. Darwin expecting a top of 34. And that is 7 News for now. Our next bulletin is 7 News at 6. I'm Angie Asimus. Thanks for your company.